certainly wouldn't say that. So these are formula driven, and some of these formulas are very flawed, but that's the explanation in regard to the COLA as best I can give it to you.
Well, I think you missed my point on that. It's not that we didn't get a cost of living increase. It's that Congress increased their pay. And they would not abide with the same health care program that they promoted for the rest of, passed for the rest of us.
Yeah, well, I want to, yeah, and you and I are not arguing on this because I think we're on the same page.
I think so.
When Obamacare was enacted, or the Patient Protection Affordable Care Act, I was in opposition to it, and I thought, well, if you're going to make us, if you're going to force this on us, then make members of Congress abide by it as well.
That is my point exactly.
Yes, sir. Well,
I appreciate you greatly, because I think you do give me hope in time.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Congressman, we've got time for about 2 or 3 more questions, so if everyone can just keep their questions as short as possible, I'm going to try to get around to as many as I can.
Congressman Gingrey, John Wallace from Town Lake, in your future county of Cherokee. One of the things to work off of this fellow's question is, I think it would be really beneficial if I know the House has been with continuing budget resolution, and then now the debt ceiling, they're going to be busy in that vein. But to piggyback off of what somebody else said, the energy, drill, try all the avenues to lower our energy costs. The regulations of the EPA, I guess, do a budget where, if you can zero in on the area of the EPA that sits in rights regulations, zero them out. Just like the NLRB at Bowling in South Carolina. Set up a budget where you zero up their budget out. What I'm trying to say is, if we could cover the Senate up, I realize you're just one house, but now that we have that one house, if we could cover the Senate up with good legislation that would be proactively business, then if they don't pass it, they don't have a leg to stand on, and we do. So, just because it can't pass and won't be signed doesn't mean you shouldn't celebrate it, pass it, advertise it, and push it on.
John, thank you. Well, we are doing that. And look, I'm not going to stand up here and suggest to you that I think, you may disagree with me on this, but I'm not going to suggest that we should eliminate the Environmental Protection Agency. I guess it was in the mid-70s when the EPA came into existence, and at that time there may have been 40 different bureaucracies, agencies, bureaus in the federal government that were involved in environmental protection. So it's kind of like the Department of Homeland Security, sort of brought under one roof with the idea of hiring the right level of expertise, and even, of course, at the highest level, the political appointees that would have the proper training in science, and whether it's climate science or whatever, in regard to trying to make sure that the air is clean and Clean Water Act, and that's important to all of us, and it's important to our children. Of course, it's pretty bad when you look up sometimes at night and you know the stars are up there and you know the moon's up there, but you can't see it because it's too much smog. And as a doctor, I think I can appreciate the importance of that. But you cannot let these federal bureaucracies run amok. And I think that's what's happening. And we are, indeed, John, passing some laws in the House, and we are continuing to push, even though they get bogged down in the Senate, where the other party has the majority rule. But we continue to push, and we will continue to push, because this has got to be reasonable. It's got to be fair and balanced.
Hi, thank you for coming. My name is Ken Cathcart, and I appreciate the information you send me through emails. My question is this: what can Congress do so that at the present time, this precedent that circumvents different issues such as the light bulb, where by the next year The light bulbs, I've been with us for years, can no longer be manufactured. The new light bulbs are going to China to be manufactured. He has circumvented going to Congress to get involved in Libya, and he has circumvented a lot of different issues. And yet Congress sits back, and I haven't heard anything where anyone has stood up to this man. You know, he's taking authoritarian steps that, as an American, I live in America, and I don't expect a president to be doing these types of things. Thank you.
Ken, I will tell you that just as I'll give you one example because you mentioned the light bulb example, and I forget the name of the bill that Michelle Bachmann introduced in the House in regard to allowing the production and purchase of the incandescent bulb, if that's what people want. And we did pass that before we broke for the district work period for the month of August, the traditional month of August away from Washington. And we did pass that with bipartisan support. And it's in the Senate now. And there are a number of other things. I understand the frustration. We don't want any president to rule us by executive fiat, to just establish rules and regulations and executive orders that are a contravention to what the will of Congress is. Where the Constitution and the separation of powers, and I think that overall that is what you're expressing, and I certainly understand that frustration. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Diane Sackmore, and my question is about the Equal Pay Act, which came very, very close to passing in the last session of Congress, and I'd like to know if you will support its passage in the coming session.
Well, Diane, I would have to look very carefully at that. In a town hall setting, I'm always very reluctant to respond that I will support a particular piece of legislation until I've had a chance to maybe read the whole bill and understand all the pros and cons and possible unintended consequences. I am for equal pay, for equal skills. And certainly I'm not in opposition to that. My family includes 3 daughters and a son, and on the grandchildren's side, 5 and 5. But nobody is more important to me than my mama and my wife. So obviously, equal pay for equal skill. On the other hand, there are sometimes cases such as the Walmart case that went to the Supreme Court, and they were asking for a class action status, and the Supreme Court ruled against that. They found that there was no evidence to support widespread discrimination by the Walmart company. If they had ruled otherwise, it probably would have broke Walmart, and no telling how many more thousands of people would have been without a job at any pay. So we just have to look at these things, again, like say, and make sure that the bill that you mentioned or any other does not go beyond the original intent, and we don't vote for something that has unintended consequences.
We've got time for one more question, and we'll get yours.
Okay. Thank you, Phil. Appreciate everything you're doing. And I'm Ron Goss. I'm president of NAPA Georgia, which is the insurance financial advisors. And a couple of questions, like the inside build-up on life insurance. Our clients and all, we appreciate your support there. Health insurance, I get clients to call. One of the problems I run into with the Obama, we're going to cover everybody thing, is it does not cover kids. We cannot write an individual policy on a child between 0 and 18, but they're not accepted on the Obamacare. So I've had some cases where kids want to play sports, they couldn't play without health insurance and a divorce situation. So these are some things I wanted to bring to your attention. The other thing is, kind of where do we stand with the Obama health care now? Maybe getting that